We are at the final stretch before Notcry, and version 5.8 did not disappoint. The Last Survivor of Tenochtzitoc is a standout world quest and a fantastic time for lore lovers. I cannot express enough how great it is to experience this quest yourself. This is the world quest in 5.8 that I highly recommend completing before Notcry arrives. There are so many lore goodies and fun exchanges that make me all the more excited for the upcoming version. We have a lot of lore to discuss, so let's get straight into it. Spoilers for the Sunspray Summer Resort story quest will be discussed, so please keep that in mind before continuing. There will also be heavy speculation and personal theories later in the video. Timestamps will be provided in the description for related topics. With all of that said, let's uncover some truths, shall we? Following the events of the Sunspray Summer Resort, the traveler and Paimon encounter what appears to be a guard while exploring the area. The guard in question seems to be reciting some sort of Natlan legend, or possibly even reciting lines of a play, with a confused Paimon attempting to draw his attention for clarification. Frustrated that he was disturbed in his monologue, he then threatens Paimon, but the traveler immediately interjects and prepares to fight. They defeat Tenochtzitoc when a man named Pukli, who turns out to be the entertainment supervisor of the resort, calms the situation. Pukli details how Tenochtzitoc is actually a staff member named Papar, who was reportedly method acting to truly immerse guests to the holiday resort experience. All of the actors around the resort roleplay as members from the tribe that historically used to be here. Tenochtzitoc was a title given to the legendary hero Tenoch, one of the 6 heroes of Natlan. At that very moment, the actor then springs forth, attempting to continue on with his acting. He doesn't make it very far before he's sedated by a concerned Pukli. With the actor temporarily out of commission, Pukli then explains to the traveler that Papar's behavior has been increasingly concerning. He worries that Papar may have been involved with something spiritually dangerous and damaging, so goes to investigate rumors regarding spirits in the area. Believing he may need to consult a shaman, the traveler and Paimon offer their services to help. Traveler and Paimon meet up with a young shaman named Layla and reintroduce themselves. After the trio reconnect and recount everything that has occurred prior to, Layla is able to capture faint traces of spiritual energy. Using vegetables as his medium for divination, he has a vision of multiple Asha, 1 on a swing and 3 in front of a woven scroll. Layla then theorizes that the Asha may have contributed to Papar's erratic behavior recently. Before they leave, Layla presents carrots to the duo to use to connect with the Asha, as it now serves as a spiritual medium. Returning to Pukli to brief him on the information they've learned, he decides to have the rest of his team investigate more of the Asha. He then provides more details surrounding the area. According to Tenochtzitoc culture, the term Asha has 2 meanings, benevolent soul and ashes. Many people in Natlan believe the Asha are actually Manatu with souls within them. Additionally, it is believed that the imprisoned souls of the warriors who perished in the Mare Jivari are directly connected to the Asha. Traveler and Paimon set off to uncover the hidden Asha, using the carrots provided to them by Layla. Once they discover all 3, Citlali appears, explaining that she is here due to Layla's concern. She strongly suspects that the strange occurrences are all connected to the Mare Jivari. Though it's accepted that the Mare Jivari disappeared, she adds her own commentary. Namely, that if the Mare Jivari had truly vanished, there should be no way to trace it whatsoever. She believes that it was actually hidden away by a special power of some kind. Regardless of its truth, Citlali states that she's actually here to pursue a target. This target was known as Kokuchu, but also held the name Sanka. Each and every time they were around, he'd always miraculously slip away. Paimon quickly deduces that it's Enjou, a lowly clerk of the Abyss Order. Citlali wants to catch Enjou for nearly sacrificing Layla in an attempt to receive information about the Mare Jivari. Though once Enjou attempted to escape, he left behind a key item, a sacred relic previously owned by Sanhaj Kampore, one of the 6 heroes of Natlan. Citlali mentions that she has already placed a marker on Enjou to track his whereabouts through Natlan. Determined to strike him down wherever he may be, she insists the traveler join her as she prepares to give her all. As the group follows Citlali's tracker, they are led to both Papar and Pukli. Seeing that Papar is awake, Citlali demands that Papar expose himself. It's quickly discovered that Papar was actually a disguise, and whoever was playing the role was not the true Papar. Pukli is utterly shocked and even more concerned that the real Papar has now gone missing. To alleviate his concerns, the group searches the nearby camp for clues. Among the clues they discover are investigative reports on the bakunawa, an immortal behemoth that devoured hordes of people 500 years ago, the mare jivari, an empty land where the wind does not blow, and a map of a secret cave. They immediately follow the location of the map and discover an implement imbued with mystic arts of the Masters of the Nightwind. The trio then realize that they are not in the cave alone. 3 Asha appear, as they've been observing them the entire time. Noting how the Asha mysteriously followed them to this place, Citlali theorizes it may have something to do with the sacred relic that Enjou left behind. Surrendering it to the Asha, they watch as a portal is then created with said implement. The traveler, Paimon, and Citlali travel through the implement and discover a realm completely unfamiliar to them. They appear to not be in Natlan, yet Citlali senses the faintest trace of the Night Kingdom. While examining the room, the trio notes how each of the seats are engraved with the names of Natlan's 6 heroes with their weapons. Curiously though, Sanhaj's weapon is missing. Once they place the relic on Sanhaj's seat, the throne in the middle of the room glows. The traveler goes and sits on the throne, but is then immediately transported outside of the room alongside Paimon. It doesn't take long for Citlali's target, Enjou, to appear. After a brutal exchange with Citlali, in which she demeans, criticizes, and threatens him yet again, Enjou requests safe passage to the mare jivari in exchange for Papar's life. Cautiously, Citlali agrees to the offer, but only after he promises the traveler and Paimon's safety, that no fauna are disrupted, and that he will not engage in vandalism. He then ventures there. The traveler and Paimon would find themselves in a plane of what appears to be the Night Kingdom. After escaping malevolent spirits and navigating portals within the realm, they soon find themselves in a new but otherwise empty and desolate land. A terrifying roar is heard in the distance, to which Paimon concludes that they are in the mare jivari. Approaching the source of the roar, Traveler and Paimon are suddenly met with a familiar voice. It's revealed to be Citlali, but as they examine the figure before them, it's Enjou. Citlali revealed to have placed a spell on Enjou that allows her to communicate but also partially control him while he's in the mare jivari. After yet another colorful exchange between Citlali and Enjou comments that it is imperative that the group defeats the bakunawa, the source of the roar. He states that the bakunawa will devour them, all of Natlan, and possibly even beyond. Concluding that the bakunawa is the source of the contamination of time within the mare jivari, the traveler engages in battle with it with the calamity of Eshu in hand. The power of the Wyob awakens, and after a fierce battle with the beast, the bakunawa is defeated. Enjou attempts to find any sacred treasures it may have left behind, but is immediately confronted by the rest of the party. The party believes it's incredibly suspicious that Enjou only came this far for sacred treasure, and demand that he state his true purpose. Enjou claims he isn't lying, and then goes on to tell the legend of an ancient kingdom that unfortunately met its end. This kingdom was Tenochtzitoc, of which had one survivor, Tenoch. Enjou goes on to say that Citlali is no longer with them, that he severed her connection and now has full control of his person again. He assures that he has done nothing to harm her, but that the story he told allowed him to gain a better understanding of the bakunawa's powers. The traveler then directly asks Enjou who he is and what his goal is, to which he explains that he is a person of many memories, yet these memories do not belong to him. He works for the Abyss Order but does not claim it as his own. Enjou questions the traveler where their home is, but notes how they are unable or unwilling to say. From this, he sets off on his own investigation into the mare jivari, but not before leaving the traveler with a parting gift, a flower that blooms amidst flames. Citlali then requests that Enjou return to them once he discovers more secrets. In disbelief, Enjou is surprised that Citlali's power can reach them even now, but respects her efforts all the same. He eventually leaves, venturing deep into the area of shattered time. Traveler and Paimon return to the throne room with Citlali and discuss everything that just transpired. Citlali knows that Enjou is far craftier than he appears, and that whatever is happening with the mare jivari is something far beyond their current ability. She goes on to say that Papar is safe and sound, and that if there were any updates, she would inform the traveler. That was a lot, so let's break down all of the information we've received. A notable force during this quest was the bakunawa, a legendary abyssal beast that was created by Gold, aka Rhine-Daughter, one of the 5 sinners of Conria. Its power was catastrophic, and it devoured any and everything it came across. It It was a creation that even gold herself could not contain and even attacked her. Its immortality reportedly does not come from life, but from a separate power altogether. Its permeation was not as simple as humus or chalk like gold's other creations. Its essence was so incredible that it has reportedly corrupted the passage of time within the mare jivari. When fought against, the bakunawa was fearsome. Any limb severed would simply regenerate, and regardless if it was cut to pieces, would revive. Because it is effectively immortal due to its high regenerative factor and is able to use an array of powerful elemental abilities, it is a threat unlike no other. Tenoch sacrificed himself in the belly of the beast after Sanhaj performed phlogiston engravings on his body. This unleashed the power of the border spells from its insides. The coalescence of the Lord of the Night's power, Tenoch's spirit, and the power of the abyss resulted in a violent explosion, shattering it to pieces. Roughly 2 or 3 decades prior to modern day, there were reports of a gargantuan creature roaming throughout the mare jivari. Strangely, it disappeared, alongside the mare jivari itself. Do keep in mind, Benti makes a comment about time in the mare jivari being so severely corrupted. At the end of Act 4, he goes on to add that the truth behind the mare jivari's disappearance lies with someone other than himself. Enjou states that it was possible that during the group's encounter with it, that they were in separate times from one another, the bakunawa in its own time and the party in theirs. The flawless of the Wanderer's troop fought against the beast in the past and was able to carve a runestone from its body. Orban, a weaponsmith, states that the runestone Mondstadt currently has was a relic left to the Knights of Favonius by the troop to aid in rebelling against Mondstadt's old aristocracy. In paralogism, Albedo uses flesh of the immortal monster from the mare jivari as part of his formula for creating Jiren. The bakunawa in Genshin Impact is highly likely based on the bakunawa of Philippine mythology, a gargantuan serpent creature. It is regarded as the moon dragon, moon-eating dragon, and eclipse bringer. In Philippine mythology, the supreme deity, Bathala, created 7 moons to illuminate the night for each day of the week. The bakunawa swallowed 6 of these 7 moons created by Bathala, to the horror and dismay of the ancient peoples. With each lunar feast, it caused eclipses, earthquakes, rain, and wind. In an effort to protect their final moon, ancient tribes would make loud noises and sounds, whether through drums or screams, deterring the bakunawa from consuming it. Bathala himself would also place bamboo on the remaining moon to keep the bakunawa at bay. After defeating the bakunawa, it will respawn after 72 hours. Once you defeat it 2 additional times, you receive 2 more notes from its remains. These notes detail the adventurer Stanley's journey in the mare jivari. He mentions in each letter how there is no wind and the constant dangers surrounding him, but his determination of uncovering the secrets of the region outweigh his fear. Stanley mentions a mysterious individual named Nocht who claims to come from Tenochtzitoc, but has no recollection of his true home. Nocht manages to stop the bleeding of some of Stanley's wounds with a flower that blooms in the burning flames. Before Nocht leaves completely due to his limited time, he urges Stanley to do so as well, of which he refuses. Stanley's final wish was for a future adventurer to discover his records left behind. Unfortunately, Stanley would meet a gruesome end at the hands of the abyssal monsters. The mare jivari was a region to the westernmost area of Natlan. Regarded as the Sea of Ashes where the wind does not blow, legends state that it was the site of a devastating battle during the Cataclysm. The 6 heroes of Natlan fought against the encroaching abyss, and ultimately through Tenoch's sacrifice were able to repel the calamity. It was believed that the fallen warriors of the past were reduced to dust there, and that their souls were imprisoned within the land. The Lava Walker artifact set is one of the earliest mentions of the mare jivari. It describes how at an unknown period of time there was a sage known as the Lava Walker that created a circlet that could withstand the flames of the mare jivari. Both the sage's teacher and peers ruled this act as blasphemy, and his teacher demanded that he travel through it in arrogance. The Lava Walker would then prove that he could traverse the Sea of Flames for over 100 years before his body eventually burning to ash. This same set also mentions that there is a proud phoenix that resides somewhere within the mare jivari. It was worshipped by people as a totem and was even regarded as nobility by the kings of old. The Wanderer's Troop set briefly mentions the troop in the mare jivari fighting what we now know as the bakunawa. Yet, even despite these dangers, adventurers would continue to flock to the mare jivari. In Stanley's notes that are found in the remains of the bakunawa, he reveals that the mare jivari is rife with monsters that cannibalize their own kind and vary in both size and power. He notes that they have a similar scent to the beasts on Dragonspine, possibly implying that they share a similar abyssal scent as the creatures that were of Durin's tainted blood. The mare jivari's time is currently corrupted. Because it exists as a calamity present in every moment that will ever be, Venti removed it from the timeline to prevent its corruption from spreading to the rest of Teyvat. This temporal distortion may contribute as to why there are events within the mare jivari at various periods in history with significant overlap. In a time long before modern Nadlan, there existed a lost settlement known as Tenochtzitoc. This settlement was created during an era of unrest in ancient Nadlan. Thousands of years ago, a king, Xbalanque, ruled over an ancient kingdom. During his reign, a great enemy, Xuequatl, the Pyro Sovereign, attacked the land, and the king would ultimately sacrifice himself in an effort to defeat it. After Xbalanque fell, his most devoted follower, Ochkon, succeeded him and would then rule. Unfortunately, Ochkon became corrupted. The kingdom fell into torment and civil unrest broke out amongst the people. A civil war would then split the peoples into factions. Ochkon would eventually perish, but his people were exiled from the land. The exiled group would then further split into two separate groups, those who chose to remain and those who left forever. The exiles who completely abandoned their homeland would travel to Mondstadt, where they would be known as the Muratans. Vanessa, a prominent character in the official Genshin Impact webcomic, was a descendant of the flame-touched Muratans and suffered under the aristocracy's regime centuries later. Those who remained in Nadlan relocated to a remote area and struggled for millennia. In this same location, they would fight until their last breath against a great darkness, leaving all but one remaining, Tenoch, the last survivor. Where the Easy Breeze holiday resort now resides was formerly known as Tenochtzitoc. In the Easy Breeze holiday resort, the traveler meets many familiar faces, one of which is a notable mystic of Nadlan. Citlali is an incredibly powerful shaman from the Masters of the Nightwind, so her presence in the quest is not only fitting, but equally entertaining. Her immense knowledge of both the spirit realm and Natlan's history gave us more information about the mare jivari, and will no doubt be of use in the future. She deeply cares for and is protective of the traveler, and this was only amplified with Enjou's presence. Due to her past experiences of Kokuchu attempting to sacrifice a young shaman of her tribe in an effort to access the mare jivari, Citlali is rightfully guarded and distrusting of him. At no point in the quest did she ever let her guard down around him, and made it abundantly clear she would not hesitate to strike him down if needed. Citlali may play a critical role in future story content, especially regarding the mare jivari. She has been featured in notable world quests and possesses immense knowledge of the world, including information that only the traveler would otherwise be familiar with. Citlali has been informed of the Abyss sibling through the Lord of the Night. As of this video, we still have no information as to why she has such an extended lifespan. She remains an incredibly mysterious character underneath it all. Perhaps it's a blessing that Enjou didn't suffer the wrath of her more powerful abilities. Speaking of Enjou, all that is unknown etches itself into the desires of my soul. This is a quote directly from the man of many names himself, Enjou. Whether Sanka, Kokuchu, and perhaps even Nocht, he skulks around in notable world quests and enjoys teasing his knowledge about otherwise hidden lore. Enjou was originally introduced as a mysterious scholar in the From Dusk to Dawn and Kanomia World Quest series, who was interested in the history of ancient worlds. He claimed to be working with Tsuyuko in an effort to obtain the Blood Branch Coral, a sacred item for the Watatsumi Goryo Matsuri, a ritual to prevent the erosion of Watatsumi's soil. It is eventually revealed that he is a Pyro Abyss Lector of the Abyss Order with a high interest in Teyvat's ancient history. In Enkanomiya, his ultimate goal was to uncover the forbidden text Before Sun and Moon, Volume 2 of the Byakuya-koku collection. This is an ancient text that details the truth of the divine, Celestia, and the heavenly principles, and the same text that sentenced Orobashi to their death. Enjou attempts to kill the traveler for it, but decides against it because he grows attached to them. He leaves, but not before suggesting that one day, Paimon may betray the traveler. He later appeared during the Three Realms Gateway event, where he made a pact with the Vishops to retrieve their kin from the Dainichi Mikoshi with Abyss technology. This plan involved covering the entirety of Enkanomiya in complete and utter darkness. Much to his chagrin, both Tsumi and the traveler would stop the plan from executing. Here in Nadlan, he is searching for the truth behind the mare jivari. At the end of The Last Survivor of Tenochtzitoc, Enjou reveals that he has witnessed the rise and fall of various ancient civilizations in Teyvat's history, but that all of these memories he's experienced are not his own. This leads to the question as to who or what he truly is. Over the course of the traveler's encounters with Enjou, he seems wholly uninterested in the Abyss Order's true objectives, and appears far more interested in discovering ancient lore for his own motives. In this world quest, he even mentions that the Abyss Order is not his true home, and questions the traveler about theirs. Yet, his curiosity of Teyvat's origins is never sated. From this point forward, there will be heavy speculation and personal observations. Who is Enjou? In his true form, Enjou is a Pyro-Abyss lector who claims to be a lowly clerk. In multiple regions, he has adorned multiple names. Sanka and Kokuchu are two names he has used, and it's very possible that Enjou is just another alias he's also fabricated. In Stanley's notes, he mentions the name Nocht, who was an individual that spoke of having no home and unfamiliar with his birthplace. This same Nocht used the same flower that Enjou gifts the traveler before he continues on his own journey. The name Nocht may come from the term Tenochtzitoc. He has memories of ancient civilizations that do not belong to him. Perhaps in an effort to discover more about himself, he investigates the history of the world. It's not unfamiliar for Abyss creatures, those corrupted with the Abyss or are able to harness its power to have missing memories or affect the memories of others. I believe this may be the case with him. Is Enjou the Lava Walker? Enjou directly gave the traveler a flower that blooms exclusively in the mare jivari. The icon you receive at the end of the quest is a picture of Enjou with the Lava Walker's Resolution flower artifact set piece, and its title is The Scholar Who Crossed the Mare Jivari. I don't think it's completely unfounded to believe so. However, it's possible that he's someone else entirely who is simply retracing or reenacting the memories of the Lava Walker. Where is the Mare Jivari now? The Mare Jivari has been removed from the current timeline. The one we experienced in the Summer Resort story quest was an abyssal simulation of it. If you return to the bar in Tete Tete Island, the bartender Tlapali gives us a little bit more information. Apparently, strange pockets of the Mare Jivari existed in Nadlan and acted as secret areas that adventurers would travel to. They have been referred to as the mare infimima and reportedly act as if the Mare Jivari is casting a shadow of itself into Teyvat. Because it has been removed from the timeline and exists as a calamity present in every moment, I strongly suspect that it may now be in a uniquely controlled space outside of Teyvat, namely in a similar space to one of perhaps Asmodee or the Shade's cubes. The Mare Jivari is in a violent and highly corrupted state. So, in an effort to control it, perhaps it is kept contained in such a space to separate it from Teyvat. Again, its disappearance is something completely unrelated to Venti, despite him removing it from the timeline. We have to wait and see what the true reasoning behind it is. Is it possible for the Mare Jivari to ever return to Teyvat's current timeline? The truth of the Mare Jivari's disappearance allegedly relies on the bakunawa's true power. The Mare Jivari existing as a calamity present in every moment that will ever be highly implies that it's unlikely for it to be resolved in return. Because there is such a heavy time distortion in the Mare Jivari, it may explain why recorded encounters seem all over the place timeline-wise. The Wanderer's troop's encounter with the bakunawa may be an example of this. The troop fought against the bakunawa, but this would then mean that the battle took place over 1,000 years ago, despite the bakunawa first appearing in Nadland around 500 years ago. Bennett was born in the Mare Jivari that disappeared decades ago, but was removed from that space by an adventurer who took him to Mondstadt. Remember, Enjou commented that the bakunawa existed in its own time and the party was in theirs. Presumably, it could only be through some elaborate divine means that the Mare Jivari would be cleansed or fixed, or alternatively, it continues to exist the way that it does now and can never return. What makes the bakunawa so powerful? The bakunawa was created by Rhindaughter, not with life, but with a transcendental form of abyssal power. This same abyssal power could be the same power that was absorbed by the 5 sinners before their ascension. All of the sinners have been described to have transcended in some way. The Abyss sibling was used as an abyssal sponge of sorts in Conria. This same power was divided up and very well could have been a source or starting point for the 5 sinners. Perhaps the same abyssal power was used by Gold in the bakunawa's creation process. It devoured parts of Rhine-Daughter, which may explain why its regenerative factor is the way it is in conjunction with its abyssal roots. Vanessa is a descendant of the missing 7th tribe of Natlan. After years of speculation, we finally have more information on the Muratans. As a bit of a recap, Vanessa was a Muratan who was enslaved by Mondstadt's aristocracy. Through both her and Barbados' efforts, they led a successful rebellion that would overthrow the aristocracy. Following, she would go on to become the Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius and even ascend to Celestia. Natlan had 7 tribes, but we are only familiar with 6. Of these 6 tribes, each has a prominent element, a notable saurian, an associated wild manifestation, and unique ideals. This is not to say that individuals of any tribe are limited to a specific element, but there is an overall representation of each element per tribe. Shalonen and Kachina are both from the children of echoes, represented by Geo. However, both Citlali and Ororon hail from the Masters of the Nightwind, with the latter wielding an electrovision. Chaska has an animovision, yet the Flower Feather clan is represented through Pyro. Some of the Muratans, who were exiled thousands of years ago, traveled to Mondstadt and settled there. These were the same peoples who were able to harness the power of Animo, and I strongly believe that they would have been the Animo tribe if Natlan's history played differently. I want to add a little bit of a bonus section here. In addition to the Last Survivor of Tenochtzitoc, there is actually one other world quest that I think is worth mentioning. It reminds me a considerable amount of exchanges we've had in the past with unique quest NPCs, such as the Boatman in Surumi Island, or even the Black Serpent Knight enemies deep within the chasm underground. I want to give a personal shout out to my fellow lore content creator Murder of Birds for bringing this quest to my attention. I would no doubt have missed this quest and only rediscover it years later down the line during exploration. The quest is called Dreamy Paititi, where the Traveler and Paimon both assist an eccentric woman named Mad Eye Atsili, who is developing a new beverage. After Atsili details the incredibly dangerous and otherwise questionable symptoms that arise per her concoctions, the Traveler decides to partake in the questionable beverage and experiences strange visions. One of the illusions they see within the dreamscape are of brew blossoms that are having an interesting exchange. O syrup mother, O phlogiston father, let us meld together like sweet honey and burn like flames. The Lord of the Crossroads raises their baton, and onwards floats the boat of the golden moon. The smoldering treasures lie at the crossroads beneath the silver moon. The scalding treasures lie beneath the light of the false moon. Farewell, child of the stars. Should we not meet again in this nation, I shall await you in another. So that's curious. The unknown speaker describes the Lord of the Night raising an instrument to the boat of a golden moon, how there is a bounty underneath a silver moon, rewards lying beneath the veil of the false sky, and that the speaker will reunite with the Traveler at some point in the future. It's unconfirmed who the speaker is, but they knew of the Traveler's origins and the false sky. I'm honestly not sure what to make of this just yet. I can't help but speculate that this may be some form of foreshadowing for the future. So what do we make of everything we've received? How can we piece this information together and apply it towards the future? Well, the mare jivari is somewhere, the bakunawa is an immense threat that the previous Pyro Archon struggled to contain, Venti is the weakest Archon by the way, enjou is enjou, and the false sky is slipping. By all accounts, things truly seem to be in disarray. So many of these lore points both stand out and connect, but they're simply threads to what will be further expanded on in the future. It is important that we received more context for both the Muratans and Stanley, as it took quite some time to revisit them in terms of world building, and the Bakunawa's introduction painted a terrifying picture of future threats. As the developers have stated previously, Notcry is going to be the region where they attempt to tie up many of these loose ends and bring much of the lore to the forefront. These world quests were incredibly fun for me. Years ago, I would not have imagined Hoyoverse to tie all of the major world quests together in such a way. The Last Survivor of Tenochtzitoc was a fantastic nod to those who completed previous major world quest series. I also adore that Citlali held such a prominent role in this world quest. I've always been a major fan of characters being included in more world quests to make things more lively. Even just seeing characters during commissions in the overworld makes Teyvat feel much more alive, so having characters involved in heavily lore-focused world quests is always welcome. Not to mention that her exchanges with enjou were absolutely priceless. The callbacks to both the Muratans and Stanley was an excellent addition as well, and made me feel so excited as a lore enjoyer. Do you have any lingering questions for these quests? Are you content with the amount of lore we received heading into Nodcry? I'm very curious what you personally think. Let me know your honest thoughts and own speculation. I couldn't get to everything I wanted to cover in this video, but I'm still excited all the same. But until next time, be safe, travelers. May you uncover the hidden truths of the world.